welcome back to another video. Today's video we have podcast episode number 4. Now, before we get into anything, I know we did miss the last upload 2 weeks ago, but kind of didn't think we had enough topics at that point. But we're already going to kind of do a full recap of the month and kind of talk about newer things as well. But yeah, so thank you guys for watching this video. But yeah, kind of get straight into things.
Yeah, we have a lot of stacked Raws to talk about, SmackDowns, NXTs, AEWs. We got a game at the end for y'all. But yeah, we're gonna start this off with Raw, and the big story right now is gonna be the Liv Morgan and Dominic kiss. So if you live in North America, apparently you missed this, but if you lived in other countries, you did get to see it. But after Raw goes off air, Liv Morgan and Dominic, they were kind of eyeing each other. That's where it kind of ended for us. Mm-hmm. But little do we know, a few minutes later, we go on Twitter to find out that after Liv Morgan does end up kissing Dom, Dom doesn't necessarily accept the kiss, but he doesn't deny it either. So yeah, what do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely a very mid-2000s or late 90s type of angle from WWE here. Didn't think we would kind of begin this type of content on Raw, especially before the NXT or the Netflix deal that they have going on. But yeah, I'm interested in it. It's fun. It's funny that Dominic's kind of like the guy, I guess, just getting every girl he wants, basically. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. Interesting where it goes.
Yeah, Liv is doing exactly what she said she wanted to do, and that's take everything away from Rhea. She got her belt. Now she sort of has Dom, not all the way yet, because the following week after, Braun Strowman is kind of chasing around JD McDonough and Finn Balor, while Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch is having a rematch and a steel cage match. And Dominic is once again trying to help Becky get the win, but Braun Strowman comes out and kind of stops the help in a way, and he goes to attack Dom, but who comes to save him? Not Damian Priest, not Finn Balor, not JD McDonough, but it is Liv Morgan. And yeah, they're playing a lot into that, so I guess we'll see what's gonna happen. Obviously, the big excitement is gonna come when Rhea returns, because that's when all hell is gonna sort of break loose in that storyline, and who knows where Judgment Day members will be at that point, because there does seem to be a split between Finn and Damian Priest as well. Like a little rift starting between them, kind of. Carlito's involved now, so Judgment Day just sort of a mess now. So when Rhea comes back, I'm sure she's not going to be happy.
Yeah. After that, we kind of have Ricochet, Braun Breaker, and Ilya. Kind of what they've been doing recently. We had Ilya and Ricochet have a rematch from their King of the Ring match. After or during the match, Braun Breaker comes in and spears Ricochet in the match in DQ. The next week, or after that, he spears him backstage through some containers. Next week, he gets a match with Ricochet that Ricochet takes while injured and very visibly, not in the right shape. Braun destroys him there. But the big news, and why we're kind of talking about this, is mainly because Ricochet could be out of WWE very soon. It was reported by Russell Pierce and Fightful that he will be. It's more than likely he won't resign when his contract does end in a few weeks.
Yeah, it was kind of shocking to me because leading into it, obviously this was kind of a rumor already, like a few months ago with Will Ospreay kind of talked about how he would like to have him there and whatnot. But yeah, it was just kind of just surprising, I guess, because you wouldn't think he would want to leave, because obviously his wife or girlfriend, whatever Samantha Irvin is to him at the time, is working with WWE, and she's on Raw working with them. They're with each other every week. They get to travel together and whatnot. So it kind of seems like a perfect kind of wrestling relationship in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So splitting off to another company, I'm sure that'll be a lot harder. But I do think that he'll be used great in AEW. I think he'll put on some amazing matches there. Hopefully he doesn't get lost in the shuffle like he kind of did in WWE. But also we can't forget about New Japan being a potential there as well, because I'm sure they would love to have a big name like Ricochet right now.
Yeah, whenever that contract he's released, and I'm sure he won't have to do a 90-day because of it just being the contract ending. He'll be the hottest free agent easily in wrestling right at the moment. He's easily one of the best wrestlers we've ever seen, just for pure talent-wise. Maybe not the biggest name, obviously, but what he can bring in any match. He can make anybody look good. He can connect with any style of wrestling, and we've seen that over the years we had him in WWE. If you look back at his old stuff from Lucha Underground, his stuff in New Japan, stuff like that, you know that he's one of the best, and it just sucks that one of the best isn't in WWE when they are supposed to have the best wrestlers in the world. So, bit unfortunate, but really excited to see what's next from in AEW or whatever.
Yeah, most likely it will be AEW, of course, because that that is where most people want to be if it's not in WWE. But also, I just want to plug this real quick. We're recording this the day of NXT Battleground, so we will not be covering NXT Battleground because that will be in the video that we post the same day that this goes live, actually. So if you do want to see some NXT Battleground talk that just happened today, go to our previous video that's before this one, and you can see all of our NXT Battleground talk there. But now going back into Raw, our next topic, we have the full, basically, Sammy versus Chad and Alpha Academy, Otis and Sammy now. They're having a match this coming week on Raw, I guess tomorrow or today at this point. But yeah, how do you feel about that whole kind of big storyline that's happening there with the Intercontinental Champion?
I think when everybody came into the story, it was all eyes were on Chad Gable and when he's going to win the belt. Now it's kind of turned into when he's going to win the belt, but also what is Otis going to do? Because I think everybody loves Otis. He's one of the funniest guys in the company. He might not be the best wrestler or anything like that, but he's just really fun. And when he is in the ring, he's always solid enough to get behind him and stuff. But yeah, I think it'll be very interesting when we do have the turn of Otis and Chad Gable. But I think that will also result in maybe the Creed brothers getting involved, and maybe that's the new Alpha Academy along with Chad Gable. If Sammy were to lose to Chad Gable, I don't know where he goes from that, which would be a bit scary. But hopefully that means he's going to the world title picture, even though that scene's already stacked.
Yeah, very interested in this storyline. Seems as if we're going to get Sammy versus Chad at Clash of the Castle. I don't know if that is official quite yet.
It is.
So it is official, so that'll be very interesting to see who does come away with the IC title at that point. Because obviously Sami Zayn, he hadn't had it a long time. He's had it since Mania, so 2-3 months maybe, something like that. So yeah, it is kind of crazy to see that he'll potentially lose it already. But it does kind of feel right to give it to Chad at this moment.
Yeah, I think that's what kind of comes at the risk of having Sammy be the one to defeat Gunther, was that it was inevitable that Chad is the one to be next in line, you would think at least. And that's just where things are putting at right now. So, yeah. But yeah, really interested and really excited for that match because it's obviously two of the best wrestlers in the world going at it. It should be a very fun match.
Alright, and then for our next talking point, I guess, of Raw, that is going to be our World Heavyweight title picture, and that is going to be Drew McIntyre gives Drew McIntyre gives Damian Priest a Claymore after he beats Rey Mysterio. It's the kind of, I assume it's kind of the blow off between Judgment Day and the LWO, because I'm assuming it's sort of dead at this point, being that Judgment Day is kind of in a mesh right now. So this was kind of the blow-off match. Damian Priest stands strong, but Drew comes in, gives him the Claymore, gets distracted after that by all the rest of the Judgment Day members. Then he gets put through a table by Priest, and he stands strong. And they will be going against each other at Clash at the Castle, of course. So yeah, how are you feeling about this feud, and what are you thinking about who's going to win at Clash?
Yeah, I mean, Drew, it's in the hometown, kind of everything points to it. I feel like there is a possibility of him not walking out as champion. However that comes, I'm interested. Maybe we get CM Punk involved. But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens after the match. Is kind of obviously what I guess is the main thing, is just where does Priest and Judgment Day go? Where does Drew go? Because you have Gunther already lined up and ready for whoever is a champion at SummerSlam, but we still have Money in the Bank in between that. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that could possibly happen here. But yeah, I think Drew is going to be the one to defeat Priest here.
Yeah, that does seem what the case is. But then next we have potentially Io Sky leaving Damage Control. Obviously she faced Lyra Valkyria. She lost. Dakota faced her. She lost. Kyrie faced her. She lost. So she kind of she literally beat everybody in Damage Control outside of Asuka because she is injured at the moment. But yeah, she beat everyone. Io kind of throws like a tantrum kind of in the backstage locker room with all the members of Damage Control, and she kind of throws a lamp on the ground, destroys the room, and yells at everybody. And yeah, she's having this big feud with Lyra that it seems is gonna happen next. And both of them are really good. I am gonna be excited to see when this feud happens. But obviously the big talking point is gonna be Io leaving Damage Control, or just Damage Control ending, period, I guess.
Yeah, I think with Damage Control possibly like kind of seeing the end of it, I'm kind of happy for it, because I think Io, although I loved her in Damage Control, and I'm not mad at the time she did spend there. I think it's time for her to branch out and go do solo stuff. She's one of the best in the world, and she deserves to be in that world title picture. Maybe going against Liv Morgan in the future, but yeah, I would love to see Dakota Kai also go on a solos run. Maybe not for the world title, but just kind of build her name up, get into the contention, maybe have a match on Raw or something like that. And yeah, I would love to see if Kyrie doesn't want to go solo, because that would be like a third person going solo. Maybe you have her and Asuka, when she's healthy, they become Kabuki Warriors again, and maybe that'd be a real threat for Jade and Bianca if they are the champions at that time.
Yeah, for sure, because it would be cool to see Asuka kind of get a big win at Mania and become a world champion, and get her first Mania win, becoming a world champion. I think that would be really nice, especially if it's versus like a former Damage Control member with her, even if that former member is Bayley. I think that could even be really good. But yeah, really good stuff going on there. Excited to see where Lyra and Io goes. But then our final segment of Raw, I'll let you kind of get more into this one, but it is Karrion Kross trying to split the New Day up, I guess. And I guess another factor that could come into this is recently has been rumored, or I guess speculated, that Big E is getting stem cell treatment. So a lot of people are kind of saying that, is he going to return soon? Is he going to be able to get active and maybe do something in the ring? So that sort of plays into this whole thing as well.
Yeah, this is Karrion Kross is like a weird thing recently, ever since he's come back to WWE, where it's a lot of like stop and go, and with a lot less go. He starts a feud with Drew McIntyre, and then that kind of ended fairly quickly after one match. And then he teased stuff with Roman, but that never happened, obviously, because Roman is Roman Reigns. I don't know where this could go, but like you mentioned, my theory is maybe we see the cracks in New Day kind of form, or Xavier Woods might turn on Kofi, Kofi might turn on Xavier, whatever. And then before one of them actually turns on him, the music plays, and maybe Big E comes out and comes to the save, and maybe not might be fully healthy, but he's at least be able to get in the ring, maybe take a bump here and there, but would love to just see him on the screen at least.
What if they do the vice versa, and he ends up recruiting Big E, and he comes in and costs the New Day? That would be crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we'll go on to SmackDown now. We have a lot to go over still. And that is going to start off with Solo is officially Tribal Chief until Roman is back. That is the wording that Paul Heyman gave us. And he also announced Tonga Loa officially is a part of the bloodline. And Tama Tonga is the official right hand. So yeah, really exciting stuff that's kind of developing in Bloodline. That Paul Heyman officially announces Solo as Tribal Chief, but until Roman is back. So that's going to be obviously kind of set up Solo versus Roman, because Roman obviously is going to be happy with what's going on right now. But also find it crazy, that all this is happening and Solo started all this because Roman lost the match.
Mm-hmm.
But Solo has been losing matches. So I don't know what's going on exactly with that part, but yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of like in like the season 2 of Bloodline, and this season hasn't started so great. Obviously, your main guy, Roman Reigns, isn't there anymore. You don't have the Usos involved, so obviously it doesn't feel the same, but you can expect it to feel the same. With Tama Tonga, I've really been enjoying ever since he came to WWE. I think he's been excellent.
Great match versus Randy Orton.
Mm-hmm. Tonga Loa still a bit questionable on stuff that definitely needs worked on and just ironed out, I guess you can say, but it's alright. I'm definitely not as into it as I nearly was during Roman Reigns Bloodline, but if we can get even anything near that, I'd be happy with it.
Yeah, obviously seems like they're trying to, just put more of a name behind Solo, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa, all of them all together, just kind of give them this kind of time in between Roman being gone and coming back to build them up and become like a force. You know what I mean? They haven't quite built that like force kind of like attitude quite yet. They're getting there with the whole Kevin Owens thing. They've been beating them down every week on SmackDown essentially. So they are building them up. They are kind of getting, I guess, pops, I guess you could say, as a heel from the crowd when they come out now. But I do think there's a little bit more work to be done with Solo's character a little bit. But yeah, really exciting stuff to see when obviously Roman returns, when The Rock comes back, what that's going to look like, and then how is Cody going to be involved from that point on. But cool stuff. But moving on, we have Logan Paul versus LA Knight, something that we thought we were going to get this WrestleMania. We didn't, but we are going to be getting it now, potentially. It's not official for Clash at the Castle just yet, but it does look like it'll be that way, if not at Money in the Bank maybe.
Yeah, I've been kind of behind the entire LA Knight defeating Logan for a while now. It does feel a bit too late because obviously LA Knight last year was the hottest star in WWE at the time, and it kind of has died down, but that's kind of just the effect of not being in the world title picture because it was just dominated by Cody and Roman and whoever Roman was feuding at the time. So it does feel a bit late, but I think with him winning the belt, you would boost him back up to where maybe he was. I think this reign of Logan, at the start, I was very happy with it, but the fact that we only had 2 title defenses in the however many days it's been is a bit sad because we expected more from Logan because he said he wanted to be more active. Unfortunately, I haven't got that, but it is what it is.
Yeah, at least he's kind of, doing these promos and whatnot on SmackDown and just having these pre-recorded videos kind of sent out. He just had one this past Friday where LA Knight, forget who he had a match. Oh, it was Carmelo Hayes. Mm-hmm. He beats Carmelo Hayes, and after the match he says, if Logan Paul isn't going to come to SmackDown, then I'm going to bring the SmackDown to Logan Paul. And then Logan Paul kind of sends in a video saying that he doesn't deserve a title shot with them. And that he's been, in the ring with all the world champions, putting on really good matches and whatnot, and he hasn't done any of that yet. So yeah, that's kind of where this is all starting. This is the feud that everybody wanted earlier, as you said. It does feel a little bit late, but I guess rather late than never. Logan Paul doesn't have much going on right now. LA Knight doesn't have anything really going on right now. So it's good to have both of them, in a storyline together now.
Yeah, after that we have Piper being Bayley's opponent for Clash at the Castle and kind of things that have been building up to the match. Piper, she kind of just, I'm not going to say appeared on the scene, but with Clash of the Castle and her being, from Scotland, it does make sense just having like a hometown face in the mat or on the card. But yeah, she cut a really good promo this past week. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, she did a really good promo because Bayley came out first saying how she doesn't respect what Chelsea does, but she does respect Piper. And if Piper wanted a title shot, she could have just asked because she does respect her. And then Piper said that she's earned all of her titles up until this point, you know what I mean? And all the other companies she's been in even before coming in WWE, and she wanted to earn it. And that was, I guess, her way of earning it was attacking her from behind. But whatever. But yeah, she's the big Scotland, not baby face, but the big Scotland hometown girl. She'll get a big pop, I would assume, at Scotland. Excited to see what that match is going to look like. We haven't really seen Piper in the world title picture. And then having this kind of manager with Chelsea Green and then Chelsea Green kind of doing the whole thing where it's like, oh, she's winning our championship, and she's kind of saying it like that. Yeah. It's kind of interesting to see what'll go from that, because if Piper does win, I think that'd be really cool. It would suck for Bayley, obviously, because it'd be a somewhat short title run for her, but I think it'd be really cool for Piper to kind of get a win in her hometown. And then obviously that would come with the Chelsea Green split at some point. You would see that match, and no telling what kind of shenanigans would come from a Chelsea Green title match.
Yeah. But yeah, we also have Jade and Bianca and what they'll be doing at Clash. At first they were going against Shayna and Zoe Stark. They have been kind of, earning their spot and defeating some having some tag team matches here and there. But also Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn, and again, hometown face for Scotland, will be there with Isla Dawn. Interested. We don't really get multi-women tag matches, so this should be pretty fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of do hope that Jade and Bianca lose. I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately. Yeah. But I do sort of hope they lose. I don't know who I'd prefer to win. I think I'd rather Isla Dawn and Alba Fyre to win, just because they kind of just came back. It'd be nice to see them get a title and, you know, kind of go on a run with it to build the titles up even more, because the titles do feel like they have like a little bit of prestige right now after the Jade and Bianca run. You know what I mean? They made it look really good, really strong champions, obviously. So to continue that with Isla Dawn and Alba Fyre, I think would be really good.
Yeah. Also, we have pretty much probably some of the biggest news of the past few weeks, and that is what Cody Rhodes will be doing at Clash, and that is the rematch with AJ Styles. AJ kind of recently has been saying that he doesn't know how long he has left in wrestling, and he kind of wants to finally win the big one again, just to, you know, ride on the horse before the sun comes down. And he goes to Nick Aldis and he says, "I want to have the ring tonight. Just can I have a few minutes just to talk to the crowd?" He goes out there. He has the OC with him. He invites Cody down to the ring and just says, "You know what? I think this is the end." He hugs him. But then right before he says something, he attacks Cody, pulls a Mark Henry, and yeah.
Yeah, he does the Mark Henry, face the retirement, attacks Cody Rhodes, does the Styles Clash off of the stairs onto the floor. Then the following week, Cody comes back. He tries to attack him, gets kind of broken up before anything happens. He goes to the ring and then announces that he wants an I Quit match. And he's going to make AJ say what he should have said last week, and that is I Quit. So we haven't seen an I Quit match in a little bit of time. I can't remember the last time we've seen one. It's been probably 2 years or a year, something like that. I can't remember one either, but I do believe we had one somewhat recently. But yeah, really cool to see. I think it'll be amazing. I don't believe this will be AJ's last match either. I do believe he'll even continue after this. At least I really hope so. Yeah. But yeah, it was really cool to see him kind of, I guess, reference the Mark Henry thing in a way and kind of do it the way he did it. It looked really good on camera. Me and you were watching it together. We were kind of like, wait, is he really going to retire? It's like, no, there's no way. He's like, he's definitely going to turn on him, right?
Yeah.
So we're kind of going back and forth with what we believe is going to happen in the moment. So they definitely did that job with that promo.
Before we move on to the next topic, I kind of want to talk about some of the backlash, I guess, that Cody's reign has gotten so far, and that is the comparison to Cena's reign after he beat The Rock at WrestleMania. He kind of has a similar thing where the next night Brock comes out, gets the F5 from Brock, goes on, beats Brock, gets his victory over The Rock, and then is fighting, has like the Mark Henry thing, and that's similar to how Cody's doing right now. I just want to get your feedback on that.
Yeah, I don't really care for any of the Cody Rhodes say this way too early. He just took down a champion that was 3 years long, so for us to complain about 3 months is a little bit crazy. Yeah, I don't care about any of the Cody Rhodes say. He's doing fine. All his matches are always great. His promos are good. He shows up every week. He's doing everything that people wanted Roman to do. I'll let them complain about that. But yeah, for our final, I guess, topic of SmackDown, it's going to be Grayson Waller and Austin Theory potential split up. Not official just yet, but obviously Grayson Waller does all these like kind of side-handed comments, and he always puts Austin Theory in these matches like unwillingly, just kind of puts him in there with Adam Pearce or Nick Aldis rather. But yeah, what do you think of a potential babyface Austin Theory?
I really enjoy it. I think Theory needs a shake-up to what he's doing right now. Ever since the Cena match at last Mania, it's kind of been a downhill spiral, I'll say. Obviously, they did get the win at this Mania for the tag belts, which was cool, but I've never gotten behind him and never kind of been like a fan of Austin Theory. I think he's a talented wrestler, and I think he has a bright future. But with what we've seen so far, it's just not what I'm looking for as somebody, who I would like to cheer for. But with him going face, I would love to see what he does. I'd like to obviously see Waller still as a heel, and I think that's what we would get because he's such a natural heel. He has that charisma and like that attitude, the smart remarks. He can do it quick as well. So, yeah, I really enjoy like a feud between Theory and Waller.
Yeah, I really like Waller's character. Not so much behind Austin Theory's character. There really isn't much to kind of hold on to there. Like you said, he's really good in the ring. He's decent on the mic, I guess. He's pretty funny as well. He does his funny segments with the Waller show and whatnot. But yeah, I'm not fully behind Austin Theory, so maybe a babyface push could do that for me and kind of get me behind him. And I could see him right back in the United States picture as, you know, a solo baby-faced wrestler. Yeah, that is going to wrap up SmackDown there. And I guess we'll do a quick, short NXT rundown here. Because like I said, we do have our NXT Battleground results video up right now. So if you do want to see that, hear us talk about that, we do have that video up, and you can go to our channel and check that out. But a quick rundown of NXT. Obviously, the big thing here, Jordynne Grace from TNA appears on NXT TV with the TNA title and challenges Roxanne Perez for the NXT Championship.
Yeah, this was absolutely crazy. This is, again, something that no one really knew was happening. No, there's no, like, leaks about it on the internet. Roxanne kind of, like, taunts Ava Raine, like, I'm the best, and you can't have anybody that goes against me. I'll just beat them all. And then Ava finds the opponent for her. Next week on NXT, Jordynne comes out, and you can just... I'm glad the NXT audience in Florida is just really good. They're always, like... You can tell they're very into NXT, and they actually watch the show. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. The match that was really good. I really enjoyed it, and hopefully we see more of her WWE.
Yeah, and then something that made it feel even more like kind of special and cool about the kind of Roxanne reaction to it was that she didn't even know who it was going to be. They kind of kept it a secret from her. They didn't want to tell her just yet. And then finally Roxanne told her, you know what, just don't tell me at all, and I'll just find out when I'm in the ring, and then, you know, I'll find out then. So the reaction that we got from Roxanne was like a genuine reaction. She had no idea. They were putting names down on the paper such as like Lita and whoever else. There were some other names that they were putting down on there. But yeah, really cool reaction. The match, like I said, ended really good. We're recording this right after it. One of my favorite matches of the night. But yeah, and then on the exact same night that we had this happen, we had our next debut, and that is Ethan Page debuting on NXT right after leaving AEW.
Yeah, really excited for this. He's a guy who I think is untapped potential. He has the charisma. He carries himself as like a world-class guy who can be a future world champion. He looks like a future world champion. Yeah, and like I said, his match was also really good at Battleground. So yeah, really excited for what's next for him.
Yeah, really good debut. Attacks Trick Williams. Then has the match with Trick Williams at Battleground. And yeah, really excited to see what goes on with him moving forward in NXT. And then for our final NXT topic, the announcement of the Women's North American title, the first mid-card women's title on WWE television. Just great to see, obviously. Good. Any more women's titles we could get to give them more TV time or feel just more special in certain moments. That's always good to see. Would like to see this in, you know, other companies as well, such as AEW and whatnot. Yeah, really cool to see this.
Yeah, I really enjoy having more titles because it allows for more time for people. I would like to see the Women's North American title maybe have some main roster women come down and every once in a while and kind of have a match for it. I'd like to see, obviously, the winner, Kalani Jordan, defend it a lot. I think we'll get that. She's somebody who, again, bright future. She's amazing in the ring. I don't know too much about her promos. I'm not an avid, frequent watcher of NXT TV, so, but yeah, really excited for what's next for her.
Yeah, definitely exciting. But yeah, that was just a kind of quick rundown of NXT. We didn't want to talk about it too much and kind of leave all the Battleground stuff for that video. So once again, final time I'll plug it. If you do want to see it, go to our last video and it'll be there, and check it out there. But moving on to some AEW, we have the big and the best MJF. He returns. Adam Cole comes out. He cuts a promo. Then MJF comes out. He basically just shuts all that shit down. Gives him a brain buster. Then he cuts one of the best promos that he's ever cut down there. And he just goes off on everyone, talks about Will Ospreay, talks about Swerve, just goes down the list basically. And then we see Roosh come out, and that seems to be what's going to be our feud now.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm kind of surprised by Roosh being the first feud. It is somebody we haven't seen MJF tangle with too much, if ever, I don't think. So yeah, it's really cool for Roosh, I'm guessing, because I don't think he'll come out on top of this feud because it's MJF's first feud back. So, but Roosh is a great wrestler. I'm really excited for what they have to offer in the ring.
Yeah, anytime I could see MJF, that's always going to bring me to AEW television. I've been kind of off and on with it a little bit recently, but now that MJF's back, that's kind of drawing me back to weekly AEW watching and kind of, watching everything. But moving on, we have Will Ospreay, and obviously, we talked about it in our predictions and results video with Ospreay versus Roderick Strong and how he won the champion already. But how are we feeling about him potentially coming a champion too soon? Because he is already moving on to Swerve Strickland at Forbidden Door. So he's potentially going to be a double champion within just a few months of being in AEW.
Yeah, so with Ospreay, he's not a WWE guy, which is good, but he's a New Japan guy at the end of the day, and it's like one of those things where he will never be an AEW original. He's not somebody that AEW can say they grew themselves, but he is still fantastic, and it's great for the company. I will never deny that it's one of the best signings in wrestling history, probably, especially for AEW. But for him being champion too soon, I would say yeah, just because being a double champion, it either sets up him losing the international champion soon, or he'll just lose to Swerve, which kind of feels like what's going to happen. But if there were to be a rematch, which has been talked about apparently between Will and Swerve at All In, things might change then.
Yeah, I did like Roderick Strong as champion. Mm-hmm. He's really good. Obviously, love some Roderick Strong. So him losing did kind of suck, but it then did seem like it made sense in the moment to put a title on Will. But now that they're doing the Swerve match, it kind of feels that like maybe Roderick should have won, or maybe Will just shouldn't have been in that match if he was just going to go against Swerve anyway. Because you could have just put that belt on him and left that one on Roderick Strong, or had someone else beat him, you know what I mean? So it does feel too soon. I will say that I don't really necessarily like that there's even a potential of him being a double champion. Because how does that make sense as far as like their rankings that they do? They just brought him back, and it doesn't make sense again already. Yeah. So you almost might as well kind of stop that. Sort of doesn't make sense, but it does in the same time, you know what I mean? But moving on to some more unfortunate news, and something that everyone probably already knew after watching the pay-per-view, but unfortunately Adam Copeland did break his leg after the cage match spot with Malachi Black. He jumps off the top and lands on his feet from a 25 foot cage, and he broke his leg. So unfortunate news. He did have to drop the title. What do you think?
Obviously sucks. Adam Copeland's one of the best of all time. No. So for him to not be on weekly TV when AEW was finally starting to use him, I was kind of interested in what he was doing. It was something fresh and new. It does suck. However, with the match that we will be finding out who is the new TNT champion, I'm interested in that because now it will be a ladder match at Forbidden Door where you have guys like Takeshita in there. I think Dante Martin's in the match already. Really excited for that. A lot of big names, and opens a lot of room for more guys to build themselves up for when Adam Copeland comes back to have a feud with him.
Seems like it's going to be a Jack Perry potential here. To win this. I guess I don't mind that. Build a little bit more heat for him. I have been liking the Jack Perry return thus far. I guess that's good for him. Sucks for Adam. Of course, he broke his leg. But I guess moving on to the next topic, how are we feeling about our next champion that we're going to talk about? And that is Mercedes Moné. She defeats Willow Nightingale, becomes champion. She hasn't defended it just yet. She will be doing that at Forbidden Door versus Stephanie Vecker. Yeah, she not very familiar with Stephanie. I've seen highlights and clips of her and whatnot, but she does seem really interesting. I'm sure she's going to be really good, and we all know what Sasha Banks can do. So what do you think about that match?
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. Obviously, Mercedes, one of the best women of all time. Obviously, it's kind of too early to give a real opinion on it, if I'm being honest. But with Stephanie Vecker being her first opponent at Forbidden Door, I'm really excited for that. And a winner takes all for the TBS champion and the New Japan Women's Strong champion. So if she were to do it, she would be being more active, it seems. But because I don't see Stephanie kind of taking both titles, especially after Mercedes just wins.
Also, seen something today as well that Stephanie is actually defending her title before Forbidden Door. I forget who the opponent is, but it's on another company. And AEW put out a graphic posting that recently saying that if Stephanie loses, then it'll be only for the TNT title. So that did come out today, not too long before recording this. So yeah, but yeah, Mercedes hasn't defended yet, so we don't have like a whole lot of stuff to go off of how we like her reign yet. But she does look good with the title. Obviously, she's Mercedes Moné, so she's supposed to have a title almost. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like she just always feels right with it. But yeah.
Yeah. On the topic of Mercedes Moné and her match at Double or Nothing, after the match, Willow, she kind of loses the match due to Chris and Stokely. They kind of distracted the ref, so she couldn't get the 3 count when she had a 5 count, really. And after the match, Chris does turn on Willow, which is very surprising to some maybe, but you kind of see the hints of it coming soon. But yeah, really interesting stuff. They are kind of being kept away from each other, but now both women will be in the Owen Hart Cup tournament on the women's side, so very interested in that.
Yeah, Willow and Chris, they just had the thing this past week as well, where Kyle O'Reilly turns on Orange Cassidy. And then Chris was with them. She kind of, I don't know what exactly she was going to do to Orange Cassidy, but before she could do it, Willow's music hit, she comes and makes the big save and whatnot. But yeah, so interesting to see what happens with that. And then our other women's division side, I guess, we have the Mariah May, Toni Storm, and Mina Shirakawa love triangle. This just basically happened this past Wednesday, I believe. And yeah, I don't have too much of an opinion on it, I guess. But this is kind of what's going on right now.
Yeah, from the very bit I do, or a little bit I do know about kind of like the connection between Mina and Mariah, I think they were tag team partners for a little while, and they're kind of just like a faction, I believe, in Stardom. But when Mariah came to AEW, she kind of had Tony as her, I guess, I don't know, her partner, I guess, for a little while. And now she's kind of in the middle of it. It's been really funny. The TV has been great moments and stuff like that. As well as Toni Storm kind of saying she wants to be the guiding light for Mariah May, and by doing that, she put her also in the Owen Hart Cup tournament, which could be an easy, I think, one of the favorites to win that entire tournament.
All right, but yeah, there's a lot of good news going on with AEW, a lot of good things going on with AEW. But one of the unfortunate things that's come out recently is potentially Penta going to WWE. It was recently noted that he tried trademarking all of his names and I guess his music or whatever it was. I don't know if it was like successfully done. I don't know if he like actually did it or not, but it was just rumored that he tried doing it, and that he was potentially WWE bound in the next few months.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, I don't think he leaves AEW. He seems fit there. He's always been in some type of title picture or like a high mid-carder guy. And yeah, honestly, it sucks to say, but with a lot of the luchadors and just Mexicans that go to WWE, they kind of are in the same thing. Andrade kind of got stuck with the LWO when he first came back. Santos has been feuding with Rey Mysterio for I don't know how long now. That feels like it's been going for over 3 years at this point. But it does suck. If you were to go to WWE, I think there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with them. But I would just be a little bit worried about how the booking goes.
Yeah, I would be more open to him coming if he was coming along with Rey Fenix, I think. That way you could kind of throw them into the tag team division together. And then kind of build from there and then have them split. And that's how you start their single. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a whole built-in storyline if you take both of them in. So I think that would, like, if it was rumored that Rey Fenix's contract ran out at the same time, I think I'd be more willing to kind of accept him going to WWE, I guess.
Yeah, I could see him him not re-sign with AEW, but I would see him just being a free agent, and he'll still show up every once in a while, but maybe not just be that weekly guy like he kind of used to be.
Maybe even TNA, so he could be on WWE that way.
Yeah. But next up, we have the new faction of Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata. Joe kind of stopped Hook from attacking Tony Nese and kind of just said, "Hey, let me help you out a little bit." And Shibata kind of tagged along a little bit. Really cool faction. I really like the difference in styles from everybody. Samoa Joe, kind of, the big guy who isn't very strong. Hook, the more technical guy who could see development in his game. Shibata, one of the best wrestlers ever, bringing that more technical style.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because Hook was with Chris Jericho and it's kind of started the whole learning tree thing, and now he's moved on to Joe and Shibata, and now it's like they're the new learning tree for him now, and they're kind of showing him these things. They recently just attacked Tony Nese and whatnot, and as they're attacking him, Joe's kind of giving him tips as he's like attacking him and whatnot. It's kind of like a little funny segment there. Then Shibata, he does his little Siri thing on his phone, Google Translate, whatever it is. But yeah, this could be a really cool faction, something I will enjoy. I'm assuming it'll probably lead to this faction versus the Learning Tree faction. That's kind of what it seems is what it's going to lead to, which that I'm not too excited for because, but I think that could be a cool, like a 3-man team to go for a trios title, just like a random 3-man team that you would have never expected to come together and win the trios titles. I think that could be a very interesting match to go versus the Guns and Jay White.
Yeah, I think they would be the biggest threat to them right now if they were to start. If we kind of just see them set their eyes on it, I think they would be a big threat, and I could definitely see them win it probably in the next few months, honestly. But on the topic of Jericho, the new Learning Tree gimmick, how do we feel?
Yeah, just kind of boring. I know a lot of people are kind of coming around to the whole Learning Tree thing. They think it's funny and whatnot. I don't necessarily get that from it. I just think it's kind of Jericho just pulling his power, just using... I don't even know what really I think, to be honest. Like, I don't know what Jericho is kind of doing with this or what's like the big end goal of this. I guess, that's what you got to watch and see, so we'll find out in time. Maybe I'll grow to love it, and it's just, right now I'm not. But it does feel just kind of... it doesn't just feel good, I'll say that.
Yeah, if I'm being completely honest, when it first happened, I hated it. Just because Jericho in 2024 isn't the best. But I will say it is kind of just funny the way he is doing. It's kind of like a meta character where he's being overly positive, he's overly waving, he's kind of it's kind of like a rib, I guess, on like maybe it's WWE they're kind of he's taking like the joke out of, but I don't really think it is. But yeah, I think it's whatever. If it gets Brian Keith over in the end, I'm happy with that. And Big Bill, if he gets over out of it, then that's all that really matters. Because there are two talents that I think have potential in AEW. What that potential is, I don't necessarily know, but they're two guys who I would like to see featured more in AEW.
Yeah, and that wraps up our AEW talk. We had a lot of stuff we obviously went over, but we do want to do something, a little bit different at the end here, and we will do a little game of who will defeat each champion. So I will go over a list of a couple of champions I'll just think off the top of my head, and just off the top of your head, you tell me who you think is going to beat them. But yeah, I just want to do this, something different for the end of the show. We'll try to do these little games at the end or maybe in between segments or maybe at the beginning even sometimes. But let's start with the IC title. Obviously, the big one is going to be Chad Gable. But let's say Chad Gable wins at Clash. Who do you want to see beat Chad Gable at that point?
So, on Raw right now, it's the mid-card division is that on TV is basically Chad, Sammy, and then also Braun Breaker, Ilya, and Ricochet. With Ricochet being gone, I would have thought maybe he could win it back, but I think Braun Breaker. I think that's the guy I would go with. WWE seems to be high on. I think there was reports that came out that they've been like changing the way the storylines have been going because of how much they like him and what they see in him. And I think everybody sees the potential, and he's one of the best, super athletic, and yeah.
Yeah, he's a freak athlete. Definitely could see him, with that world title, and I think it would look very good on him as well. And then I guess we could move on to, I don't remember which title was which, so I'll just say the Raw Tag Team titles.
Raw Tag Team titles, another tough one because there hasn't been too many tag teams. Just because they're my favorite tag team, I'll go New Catch Republic. Yeah.
Nah. All right, and then I guess we could go to the AEW side. Who could you potentially see defeating Will Ospreay for the Intercontinental Intercontinental?
Yeah. If Ricochet were to go there, I could definitely see Ricochet being one of the guys. Pac potentially winning it back, I could see that happening. Yeah, that's probably my two right now. That's obviously just if Ricochet goes.
Yeah, I think that would be very interesting as well. And I guess we'll go with Mercedes Moné for the final one. Who could you see being the bad Mercedes Moné?
I honestly think it'll be Sky Blue. She's somebody who's still fairly young, and we've already had tease of them having matches together. We've seen matches with them already. However, I think by the time Mercedes has run her course with the title, I think Sky Blue will hopefully be built up even more, and she'll be more over than what she is now, and hopefully she'll be just as good.
Yeah, I'd definitely be down to see that. A lot of cool stuff going on in AEW right now. This is probably some of the more exciting times in AEW with the return of MJF, the potential of Ricochet coming with Will Ospreay being there, Swerve just turning into his mega star, Mercedes Moné, we got Tony Storm. There's just so much going on in AEW right now, so this does feel like a really good era of AEW coming soon.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying it. Weekly TV's been solid.
Yeah, obviously WWE is always gonna kind of have a special place in a lot of people's hearts because it's what everyone grew up watching. But AEW is crushing it recently, and I've been really enjoying it. I've been getting more into it. But what do y'all think? What do y'all think is the best show right now between Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and AEW? A lot of people would say AEW. A lot of people would actually say NXT. A lot of people would say Raw. Don't know how many people are gonna say SmackDown at this point in time. Maybe beginning of the year they would have said it. But yeah, let us know what y'all's favorite shows, what y'all's favorite moments is, and if y'all have a topic for us y'all want us to talk about, let us know in the comments or questions, whatever you need, you can put in the comments and we'll try to respond to you, or maybe you'll feature in the next video and your comment will be there. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Once again, check out our NXT Battleground video up. It'll be up as of the recording of this, so please check that out, give it a thumbs up as well as this one, and thank you guys.